In this beginner and intermediate lesson, we're going to have a look at a great song written by Ernest Tubb. It's called Waltz Across Texas. It's just an absolute classic country song. And for the beginner players who are watching, I want you to focus on just the basic melody and the chords. And then for the intermediate players, once you've learnt the basic chords and the melody, we're going to move on and we're going to look at how we can add some double stops and sort of how you can put your own spin on adding double stops. So the basic melody and chords. This is a song that only has 2 chords in it. And for the purpose of this lesson, I want you to play these 2 chords. Just your normal G, so kind of open, open, 2, 3 for you beginners. If you know a better G, you probably will, then go for it. And the D7 I'm going to be playing, and if you don't know it, you should definitely learn this D7. Looks like that. It's like a 5-4-5 going on. There should be a little image of it in the bottom corner. 5-4-5. That's a really useful chord to know for 7 chords whenever you see a number with a 7 next to G7, E7. This shape will, this 5-4-5 little shape, wherever you use it on the fretboard, will always create a 7th chord. Just kind of keep your hands in the same shape. So really practice kind of getting to that D7 as quick as you can. Okay, so the melody, it sounds a bit like this. I'll just play you a little bit of it and then we'll play it together with the metronome. But it's sort of a melody that pretty much repeats itself. That's kind of the main bulk of it. So don't forget, you can get the tab and music for this for free. If you click the link below, there's a little PDF worksheet that kind of goes hand in hand with this video. And what we're going to do now, I'm going to put the metronome in and I'm going to play the melody and the chords round a few times. And maybe first time round do exactly the same as me, so you can get used to playing the chords and get used to playing the melody. And then stop it and then rewind and do the opposite of me, so we're kind of jamming it. You'll play the melody, I'll play the chords, and so on. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3. 1, 2, 3. G. Here's D7. Back to G. D7. One, two, three. 2, 3. 2, 3. 1, 2. Last time. G. Here's the D. G. G. D7. Here's the end. Okay, once you've mastered that, and I highly recommend you keep looping that, just keep it going round until you've mastered the melody and you've mastered the chords. And then we can move on to looking at some double stops. This is a useful tune, it's in the key of G, which means most of our, we've got two chords, G and D. So you need to know your G and D arpeggios, and in this example, it's useful to know your D7 arpeggio because you've got an extra note in that one with the 7th note. But if we take the first bar as a useful example, including the little pickup note, that's our melody. We've got two notes there that are both in the G chord, and there's a G chord playing at the moment. So our first note is this D. And if we're taking our double stop principle of adding another note from that chord, and the melody's a D, that means we have G and B spare. So any of them, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options to turn that into a double stop. And it's at this point that it becomes more of a personal preference thing than a rule, just as any of those notes are correct. And then the second note, which goes down to a B, so it kind of goes D, D, B. So when you're on the B, it now means you've got G and D that you can add. So you've got 3 options there. So there's lots of different ways you can play just that first bar. You could go, keep the same note underneath, you could go above, you can go below. There's just 100, you could do a mixture of both. It's completely up to you from now on. I personally would play any of the options that kept the double stop note that you're adding underneath the melody, so that one, or I don't really like it personally when the double stop goes above the melody. I feel like your brain wants to hear the higher note as the melody. I feel like your brain wants to hear that as the melody. So I stick to. And then when you get to the D chord, don't forget you need to remember your D arpeggio, which is D, F sharp and A. And because it's a D7 chord, it gives you another option, which is the 7th note, which is a C natural. So over a D7 chord, you can add D, F sharp, A or C to turn that into a double stop. So what we're going to do now is I've written kind of an example of this, an example sort of way of how I would play this, adding double stops. That's included on the tab below. And the same speed we just played the basic melody, so about 80 BPM, we're going to have a little play round of that melody. I'm going to play through it twice and then pause. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So that's how my example sounds. What I suggest you do now is I'm going to just play the chords. I'm going to play the chords round twice. And you can either just play my version, play just a few of my additions, or now is your chance to kind of experiment with your own preferences for doing double stops. So same speed, I'm just going to strum the chords, and this is just an option. This is just a chance for you to have a little play around. No judgment, because I can't hear what you're doing. Just have a little play around of double stops on that melody and see what you do and don't like, and eventually hopefully you should find your own way of playing double stops. So I'm going to do chords twice round, same speed, after 3. 1, 2, 3. D7. Back to the G. To D7. Back to the top, 2, 3. Back to the G. To D7. The end. So hopefully you've been able to do a few things of this lesson, play the basic melody and also the G and the D7 chord. Then hopefully you've been able to play my arrangement of this. And then lastly, the thing that I'd really want you to take away from this lesson is taking that basic melody and doing your own double stops with it. That's what I really want you to kind of play around with in your own time. And start to work out what you do and don't like about your own double stops. And that's it for this month. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions, just get in touch via mandomike.com and I'll answer them as quick as I can. And we'll see you next month.